Here's a truth most women were never told. Your aging timeline may not be written in your skin. It may be written in your ovaries. For decades, longevity science studied men and assumed women followed the same biological script. They don't. And now, 2026 research is pointing to something that changes the entire conversation: your ovary span. The length of time your ovaries remain biologically resilient may quietly influence your strength, brain clarity, metabolic health, and long-term independence. If you've ever felt like your body changed faster than expected after menopause, if you've wondered why bone loss, fatigue, or brain fog seem to accelerate, if you've asked yourself, is this just aging, or is something deeper happening? You're about to understand what most people still don't. Because this isn't about chasing youth. It's about protecting your health span, your mobility, your strength after 50, and your independence. And once you see how Ovary-Span fits into the bigger picture of longevity, you'll never think about aging the same way again. She'll tell you this up front. Women don't just age, they transition. And the ovary quietly acts like a command center for hormonal health. When ovarian function shifts, it doesn't only affect fertility. It can influence energy, mood, sleep, body composition, and how resilient you feel day to day. That's why longevity for women can't be a copy-paste version of men's protocols. It has to respect biology. In the real world, aging well often means protecting quality of life, staying sharp, steady on your feet, and confident in your body. And yes, it's unfair that the rulebook changes mid-game, but understanding the rulebook is how you win your health span. Menopause, in this lens, isn't the end. It's a major biological turning point that can ripple across the whole system. After that shift, risks can change in ways that matter. Bone density, metabolic health, immune patterns, and even brain aging markers get more attention in research. That doesn't mean doom. It means direction, because evidence-based health is about noticing patterns early and acting wisely. She'd frame it like this: the body is an orchestra, and hormones help keep timing. When the conductor changes, the tempo can drift. So the goal becomes smarter support, healthy aging without panic, and with a plan you can actually live with. This is where people get it backward. They chase anti-aging aesthetics while ignoring function. But a woman who prioritizes strength after 50, mobility, and balance is building something far more valuable than a filtered version of youth. Think practical. 2 to 3 days a week of safe resistance training, plus daily walking, plus a simple balance drill like heel-to-toe stands near a counter. It's not flashy. No one's handing out trophies for did my squats, but it's the backbone of functional fitness and independence. And if a trend promises miracles in 14 days, well, she'd suggest you keep your wallet in your pocket and your skepticism on standby. Here's the part that sticks. Ovarian decline isn't just a headline about hormones. It can be a signal that the whole system is entering a new chapter. So instead of asking, how do I look younger? The better question becomes, how do I stay capable? Stairs, groceries, travel, play, life. That's why responsible biohacking, educational light, for women starts with fundamentals, then adds science carefully, never the other way around. Because once you see the ovary as a health span messenger, you start wondering what modern research is doing about ovarian timing itself. And that opens the door to the next idea, Ovary-Span. And why 2026 trends suddenly made it the center of the longevity conversation. Here's where the conversation shifts. In early 2026, the Global Wellness Summit identified ovarian longevity as one of the defining health movements of the decade. Not symptom management, not surface-level fixes, but a deeper question. What if the timing of ovarian aging influences the entire trajectory of female longevity and health span? Suddenly, menopause isn't the finish line. It's a biological signal worth decoding. For decades, women were told to manage the symptoms and move on. Hot flashes? Here's a patch. Sleep issues? Try this pill. But the new Ovary-Span framework asks something more strategic. Can we influence the rate of ovarian decline itself? Because if the ovary truly functions as a hormonal command center, protecting it may influence healthy aging, brain resilience, bone density, and metabolic stability. And that changes how women think about how to age better. It becomes proactive, not reactive. The science community is now exploring 3 bold directions. First, how to slow ovarian decline. extending hormonal balance safely and responsibly. Second, whether ovarian tissue can be supported or rejuvenated through advanced regenerative strategies. Third, how to prevent postmenopausal disease acceleration through smarter early intervention. This isn't fantasy. It's structured research rooted in evidence-based health, even if parts of it are still evolving. But here's what most people miss. Ovary-Span isn't about clinging to youth. It's about extending vitality. The years where strength after 50, cognitive clarity, mobility, and balance still feel stable. It's about protecting independence, not fertility. That subtle distinction is everything. And once you understand that, you start wondering what tools science is building to support this shift, which leads us straight into the frontier of stem cells, diagnostics, and personalized hormonal strategy. Now we step into more advanced territory, carefully, responsibly, without hype. Researchers are investigating ovarian stem cell therapies, exploring whether dormant regenerative pathways could one day support ovarian tissue health. It's important to say, much of this is still experimental. But the direction signals something bigger. Female longevity is no longer a side conversation. It's becoming a primary research focus in modern evidence-based health. Alongside regenerative research, diagnostics are evolving. Ovarian aging markers, like AMH and other hormonal indicators, are being studied not just for fertility, but as broader health signals. Imagine ovarian function being viewed like blood pressure or cholesterol, a measurable vitality indicator. That doesn't mean obsessing over lab numbers. It means using data wisely to guide healthy aging decisions. Knowledge reduces guesswork, and guesswork is rarely a good biohacking, educational, light strategy. Hormone replacement therapy is also entering a more nuanced phase. Instead of yes or no, the discussion is shifting toward personalized protocols, timing, dosage, risk profile, lifestyle context. For some women, optimized HRT under medical supervision may support bone health, metabolic resilience, and quality of life. For others, lifestyle foundations may be the priority. The key is intelligent personalization, not internet forums and not fear-driven avoidance. And here's the deeper insight most miss. Cutting-edge science doesn't replace fundamentals. No stem cell therapy will compensate for muscle loss from inactivity. No hormone optimization can undo chronic stress and poor sleep. The real frontier is integration. Advanced science layered on top of functional fitness, strength after 50, daily mobility, and metabolic stability. Which brings us to something far more powerful than any lab breakthrough. What you actually do every day. Here's where theory meets reality. Because ovarian longevity isn't built in a lab first, it's built in your Tuesday afternoon decisions. And if there's one non-negotiable for female longevity, it's strength after 50. Resistance training isn't about vanity. It's about bone density, insulin sensitivity, joint integrity, and preserving independence. 2 or 3 well-structured sessions per week can quietly transform your health span more than any trendy supplement ever could. She would say this clearly. Muscle is metabolic insurance. When estrogen shifts during menopause, muscle becomes protective currency for healthy aging. Simple structure works, compound movements like squats to a chair, light deadlifts, rows, overhead presses. Add balance drills between sets, maybe single leg stands while brushing your teeth. It's not glamorous, but it builds functional fitness, mobility, and fall resistance over time. Nutrition becomes more strategic too. Protein intake often needs to increase slightly after 50 to maintain lean mass, around 25 to 35 grams per meal for many women, depending on body size. Omega-3s, fiber diversity, and micronutrients support hormonal balance and metabolic flexibility. No extreme diets required, just stable blood sugar, consistent meals, hydration, and sufficient sleep. That's real-world biohacking. Educational light, boring enough to work, powerful enough to matter. Stress management, non-negotiable. Chronic cortisol disruption can influence hormonal rhythms and recovery capacity. That doesn't mean quitting life. It means adding boundaries. 10-minute breathing resets, strength over cardio overload, sunlight walks, community support. Women thrive in shared knowledge spaces. Conversations reduce isolation and improve adherence. And once daily behaviors are optimized, you start realizing something bigger. This isn't about ovaries alone. It's about reclaiming control over your trajectory of longevity itself. Let's make this personal. Ovarian longevity isn't about chasing youth or competing with time. It's about equity in healthcare, recognizing that female aging well follows a different biological rhythm. For too long, longevity science was built on male data and applied broadly. Now, the shift toward ovary-span signals something overdue. Women's health span deserves its own blueprint. When ovarian health is supported, the ripple effects touch everything. Bone strength, metabolic stability, cognitive resilience, immune balance, all interconnected. This isn't cosmetic. It's foundational to quality of life and sustained independence. Imagine reaching your 70s, still confident in your mobility, still steady in your balance, still capable of lifting what life asks you to lift. That's not vanity. That's freedom. And here's the quiet truth most people feel but rarely say. Many women fear becoming fragile more than they fear getting older. They worry about losing strength, clarity, or autonomy. That's exactly why structured guidance matters. Around this point, many readers realize they don't just need scattered tips. They need a roadmap. That's precisely why the Longevity Protocol, your comprehensive guide to a longer, healthier life, exists. It brings together evidence-based health, practical strength programming, hormonal literacy, and sustainable biohacking, educational light strategies in one clear system. Not hype, not extremes, just structure you can actually follow. If you've ever thought, I wish someone would just lay this out clearly, that's the gap it fills. Because once you understand why ovarian longevity matters, you naturally ask, what else is quietly influencing the way women age? Now, here's something rarely discussed in mainstream conversations. Ovarian health doesn't operate in isolation. It's deeply connected to metabolic signaling. Insulin sensitivity, mitochondrial efficiency, and inflammatory load all influence hormonal resilience over time. In simple terms, how your body handles energy can quietly shape how you experience menopause and beyond. This is where longevity stops being abstract and becomes cellular. And yes, this is where intelligent strategy separates noise from real evidence-based health. One powerful practical lever: blood sugar stability. Not extreme dieting, not fasting marathons, just consistent protein intake, resistance training, fiber diversity, and avoiding constant grazing. When insulin spikes are reduced, inflammatory stress often lowers, and hormonal signaling becomes more stable. That's not trendy biohacking. That's foundational healthy aging that protects your health span. Another emerging area is circadian alignment. Your ovarian system is influenced by sleep timing, light exposure, and stress rhythms. Late-night screen exposure, erratic sleep, and chronic overtraining can subtly disrupt endocrine balance. A simple upgrade: morning sunlight within 20 minutes of waking, strength training earlier in the day, consistent sleep windows can improve recovery capacity. It sounds almost too simple, but often the most powerful upgrades to functional fitness and long-term vitality are exactly that. And here's the strategic insight: you don't need extreme intervention to influence trajectory. You need compounding habits. Strength work, nutrient-dense meals, restorative sleep, nervous system regulation. Layered together, they protect mobility, balance, cognitive clarity, and hormonal resilience. This is the philosophy behind the Longevity Protocol: structured systems that build independence year after year. Because remember, your goal isn't youth, it's independence. Now let's bring this home. Ovarian longevity isn't about turning back the clock. It's about deciding how you move forward. Because once you understand that ovary-span may influence bone strength, brain clarity, metabolic health, and overall health span, the question changes. You stop asking, how do I look younger? And you start asking, how do I stay capable? So here's the real question. Are you training for youth, or are you training for independence? Are your daily habits protecting your mobility, your balance, your strength after 50? Or quietly accelerating decline? You don't need extreme biohacking. You need intelligent, evidence-based health decisions repeated consistently. Strength training, blood sugar stability, hormonal literacy, stress regulation. That's how you age better. That's how you extend quality of life. And if this conversation opened your eyes, then there's something else you need to understand. Because your ovaries aren't the only biological clock influencing longevity. Your gut has one too. If you haven't watched our video, your gut has a biological clock too. 5 simple ways to slow it down after 50. You're missing a critical piece of the puzzle. Hormonal health and gut health are deeply connected, and knowing one without the other leaves the strategy incomplete. That video explains exactly what to do next. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, because this isn't about hacks. It's about building a body that supports you for decades. The future of longevity is smarter, and increasingly it's female. Until next time.